a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beach dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay at home, Disney Dad.
Last summer, week 5, it's Moon Spinners, and I have no idea why this movie jumped out at me as a summer movie, but here we are. I think I was excited because I found an open one in the wild. I've been sitting on a factory sealed copy of Moon Spinners since we started this journey. I'm afraid to open it, right? It's factory sealed. So I finally found an open one. I get to review this movie, Moon Spinners. Found one out of the shrink wrap. Let's keep the last summer going. We press play and some almost like creepy flamenco music starts over the credits, right? The VHS case promised me danger and romance, so let's lock in because this is part of the Hayley Mills Collection. Who is Hayley Mills? Well, let's Google her. She's the younger sister of actress Juliet Mills. She began her acting career as a child and was hailed as a promising newcomer, winning the BAFTA Award for Most Promising New Performer for her performance in the British crime drama film Tiger Bay 1959, the Academy Juvenile Award for Disney's Pollyanna 1960, and Golden Globe Award for New Star of the Year Actress 1961. Wasn't Pollyanna the kid that fell out of the tree in a weird third-hour random plot twist? It doesn't matter. We start on the island of Crete. It's a packed bus stuffed with people and the blonde teenager. Hey, that's Hayley Mills. She's gonna puke. And Mama's like, don't you puke, don't you puke. And if it was me on the bus, I'd be like, he's gonna puke, he's gonna puke, he's gonna puke. There's a guy on the bus holding a dead fish and he's like waving it in their faces every time they hit a bump. The bus finally arrives. Everyone piles off. For some weird reason, the bus speeds away. It kicks up dirt at the ladies as they ride donkeys to town, and they witness a wedding. They're visitors from England. The whole wedding cheers for them for some reason. The creepy guy with the fish is leering at some lady in the balcony, and the lady goes inside and tells her husband to get up and do something. Okay, that's not his wife, this is his little sister. She says this guy's obsessed with astrology, and he counters that his obsession with astrology is going to get them rich. She says, go to church, astrology is the work of the devil. She's not wrong. Fish guy sees the blonde teenager that he already saw on the bus, but he's looking at her kind of weird now, like he sees her beauty for the first time or something. I don't know what's happening. I'm just going to keep going. They see the name Moon Spinners on the side of a building. It's an inn, they have a room booked at. So that mean guy's little sister meets them, and the aunt says, yeah, I pre-booked a room here, and the lady was like, I was not expecting you, I didn't get any telegram about reservations, get out of here. And the English ladies are like, we gotta go. But then her kid, Alexa, pops out, and he's like, what are you talking about, Mom? We got lots of empty rooms. And the women are like, you have empty rooms? Give one to us. We can't go back to Iraq tonight. The son takes them up to room 3 and has a beautiful view over the water. Alexa and Hayley Mills chat, and my daughter says, well, they're gonna be dating. Alexa says, since Uncle Stratos came back from London, he doesn't like anyone. And just like that, Uncle Stratos bursts in and he's pissed off. He goes, she gave you this room. The English aunt says, I collect songs and that's why I'm here. She's a musician and she's working on some stuff over here. Okay. The ladies banter about meeting men, and then the blonde goes out to the balcony and some other guy gets on the dock, and the weird fish guy is there, and this handsome swimmer is like, you were watching me out there, weren't you? Next time, don't be so shy. Let's go Moon Spinners. It's getting hot. The swimmer turns out to be some guy named Mark. They know him or about him, or he knows about the girls, but he's the life of the party. It's Aunt Frances and her niece Nikki. That's these two. Mark has a table reservation outside for them. They talk about how that Stratos guy needs a witch doctor to improve his mood. Mark serves them octopus. The bad guys gather in the shadows, and we learn that Mark was skin diving very near to something, so they need to send him away, and all this is shady. Uncle Stratos' underling says, there will be developments tonight. We learn about the name Moon Spinners. That's 3 sisters who spin the moon. It has something to do with the Bay of Dolphins and the legend that there's treasure under there. Uncle Stratos says, I seen you out there skin diving, and there's sharks in that area. And he says, I've seen you out there in the boat as well, Mark. Everyone's watching this guy freaking dive. Nikki comes into her room and Uncle Stratos is in there just going through their stuff. He covers poorly and is like, isn't it weird? You met your old friend Mark here randomly? And she goes, I've never met him before in my life. And he's like, Then she gets back and Mark starts dancing with Nikki, and then he tells her that other than Alexis, there's something sinister about this whole family. He invites her to a swimming tomorrow at the Bay of Dolphins, where there's sharks. He invites her to, quote, shatter tradition and really let go. And they start, like, doing the twist up here, and the band speeds up, and these people have never seen anything quite like this. The bad guys keep mean-mugging them from the shadows. Nikki says she was told she was romantic, and that's one step away from being called a drip. Aunt says, well, he must have liked you. He asked you to go swimming. How old is Hayley Mills? I can't tell if she's 12 or 25 years old in this movie. Mark is snooping on creepy Uncle Stratos as he boats out into the Bay of Dolphins looking for the treasure. Unc's henchman, like his muscle, has the biggest gun I've ever seen, and he shoots at Mark as Mark snoops after dodging a few times. I think he's hit as he falls into the water, but he never comes up. Henchman has the gun, and Unc has the light from his boat, and they're searching everywhere, but they can't find the body. We fade to black. Nikki gets up the next day and learns that Mark is gone. She goes to the beach and finds his shoe. And Uncle goes through Mark's stuff back at the hotel room and finds his passport. I feel like this movie was an excuse to go to Crate. Nikki goes exploring in some empty church and finds bullet holes and blood. That's every church, girl. Okay, I gotta look this up, okay? Moon Spinners is a 1964 American mystery film starring Hayley Mills, Eli Wallach, and Peter McHenry, and a story about a jewel thief hiding on the island of Crate. Produced by Walt Disney Productions, the film was loosely based upon the 1962 suspense novel by Mary Stewart and was directed by James Nielsen. It features silent film actress Pola Negri in her final screen performance. Moon Spinners was Hayley Mills' fifth film in the series of 6 for Disney. It includes her first proper, in quotes, on-screen romance in a Disney film. Let's go, Hayley Mills. Oh, the shot Englishman, like that Mark guy was hiding in the basement of the church. She's like, what are you doing here? They said you were gone. And she's ignoring the fact that he's been shot in the arm or shoulder. She gives him some coffee. Heck yeah, that's all you need. Let's go. She's like, you gotta go to the police, but Mark ain't no narc. She sends her back inside the hotel to go fetch him some clothes and a bottle of alcohol so he could deal with his gunshot wound like a man. The aunt is asking Uncle Stratos where her missing items are, and he's like, I definitely didn't come into your room while you were asleep and take those things that you're missing. And then she goes, it's all that stuff, and we're missing the first aid kit. And he's like, buh? First aid kit? Who would need that? Maybe someone I shot. He's figuring this out. Nikki returns with the stuff, and she's like, I have no idea how to tend to a wound. Quote, I was always bottom. And he's like, that's encouraging. It doesn't matter. She's like, should I dig out the bullet? And he's like, no. And he's like, you need to get your aunt and get out of here. Get out of here immediately. She leaves and runs into Uncle Stratos, and he's like, why do you have the first aid kit? And she makes up a story, and he doesn't believe it. And then she turns to go back to Mark and accidentally leads him right there, because Unc ain't no dummy. He tells her, you're a very bad liar and a very stupid girl. That's a quote. He drags her into the church and immediately finds the blood and goes downstairs to finish the job. He's going to kill Mark, but he can't find Mark. Music here kicks ass. He can't find Mark, so he turns his rage to Nikki like a psychopath. He goes, how much do you know? Unc is a lunatic. And his little sister is like, I know you're up to no good, and I'm afraid whatever happens, tell me the truth. What happened? Tell me the truth. We see the bullet-riddled Mark now in a suit, and he's making a run for it while Unc and his henchmen are looking for him with the shotguns in broad daylight on this island. That first young man, the kid Alexis, finds Mark, and he's like, can you go check if Nikki and her aunt left town already? And he's riding a donkey back to town. And then we see Nikki tied up in some windmill tower, and she's screaming when a rat touches her foot. Alexis hears her screaming from the tower like Rapunzel. And he's like, I'll get help and come back. Remember that. He goes to get help, Alexis. The aunt is freaking out because her niece is missing, and Unc is like, we'll all go looking for her. But he's the one that kidnapped her and put her in the windmill. The younger sister is now going into mean Unc, and he's like, you love your son Alexis, don't you? Sophia, shut your mouth or I'll kill Alexis. I'll kill your son. Okay, then. Alexis gets Mark and brings him back to the windmill to rescue Nikki, right? But Alexis ends up doing all the work himself. He rides the windmill, he scales it like a monkey, and he gets in the window, he cuts her ropes and helps her escape again. Why did he go get Mark? Because he needed an audience? As she tries to get the courage to scale down the windmill thing, Uncle Stratos is coming around the bend with his shotgun. Mark is finally like, I'll come get you. And he tries to get on the windmill, but he's got a bullet in the arm, so it doesn't really work. He falls back off, and she finally gets down just as Unc comes creeping around with his shotgun. And there's a door in the windmill at the bottom. Why didn't they just use the door. I don't know. Unc gets there, and everyone's gone. Mark is dragging Nikki, and she's like being tired, and he's like, I have a bullet in my shoulder, girl. She spins around and slaps him, and he's like, all right. Then the underling, the fish guy, jumps Mark, and he's beating Mark like a drum, and Nikki's like, no, don't do that! She hits him with a stick and goes, did I kill him? And Mark says, nah, he's just knocked out. He's dead. They end up at the Temple of Apollo. The locals say this place is haunted. What a place for a final showdown. The moon is about to get spun here. A bunch of stray cats hiss at them. Mark finally tells her why Unc is trying to kill him. Stratos is a jewel thief, but he ended up like framing Mark for it. I kind of zoned out a bit here. Everyone looks sweaty in this movie. She figures out that the jewels are in the Bay of Dolphins, and he's like, the Bay of Dolphins! Of course, like Mark, you idiot. I figured that out a long time ago in like the first 10 minutes, but then suddenly Nikki's asking him, so you were on a date? Like, was she pretty or like, what? He's like, I need to go to sleep. And she says, you can use my shoulder. And here comes Uncle Shotgun. Only suddenly, it's not him, it's the British consulate. This other old guy shows up and he's like, are you Hansel and Gretel? Are you in trouble? And Mark is like, oh, we were at a wedding and it got violent, so we left. And this guy wants to give Mark and Hayley a ride, and Mark thinks this guy is full of crap. He doesn't want to go, but he convinces them that he's a real good guy. And he's like, you can leave your rifle here, Mark. And they drive away together with this weird new character. Probably not good. This movie is still going on. He takes them back to his mansion, and his wife is a nurse, and she wants to look at Mark's shoulder, and yeah, it's a setup. He's working with Unc, but they don't know that yet. Unc is in the house, and this is like this new consulate guy is like the new final boss, I think, and he calls Unc a bumbler. They're bickering now. The new bad guy's like, don't screw this up, Unc, and Unc's like, I've done all the work so far, and if either of these women escape, you'll wish you stayed home knitting. What a burn. The house nurse is like, well, Mark probably needs penicillin, but you know. The ladies chat, and I miss most of it. Now we are on a yacht, and the final boss is telling Nikki that a plane is coming to take her back to Athens. Final boss had like drugged the nurse or something. It's weird. She's being all drunk and lippy. I don't know what that's about. That never really pays off. They start talking about Madame Habib, and I've momentarily lost the plot on this one. But to be fair, my daughter started doing like backflip handsprings in the basement back and forth because she's also bored of this movie because it's been like 3 hours. There's so much dialogue, and full disclosure, I had a big old glass of Jägermeister when I was watching this somewhere in the second hour, so I'm having a hard time focusing around now. Nikki goes to see Mark with a bullet hole in him. She starts telling him about Madame Habib, who has a yacht in the harbor, and he's like, wait, Madame Habib, that explains everything. The deal, the big deal. We got to get back to the village. And Nikki's like, no, you're coming back to Athens with me. And he's like, no, Madame Habib is the biggest jewel connoisseur in the world. He has the jewels, and he's going to sell them to Madame Habib. And this movie should have ended a long time ago. They needed an editor. And shows back up, and they start stretching out Mark, and they realize they're taking Mark in a hearse. Dark. The hearse is taking all three of them to the airport to take them back to Athens, but we jump to like a creepy parade. Like the hearse gets caught up in this parade. It's trying to drive through it. Nikki can't waste the time, so she gets out and she tries to run through the parade. This is actually really good footage. Mark follows. It's mayhem as they push their way through the crowd, and Nikki gets an idea. She steals a little boat. She zips to this yacht, Madame Habib's yacht, because that's something every teenager knows how to do, like in the dark. She gets on the yacht, and this is Madame Habib's. She gets in Madame Habib's face, and she's giving her attitude, and Nikki is spilling the beans about Mark and the stolen emeralds. She begs for Madame Habib's help. Nikki keeps sneezing, and I feel like that's going to lead to something. She's sneezing all of a sudden. Then we see Mark running through the dark, and Unc is pulling up to the shore, and then pulls a rope, and he pulls up an underwater basket full of jewels, and he hops back in the boat, and then Mark leaps in the boat, and it's a fight on a moving motorboat, and this is pretty cool. Alexis is there now as well, looking on from the shore. Clearly, this is shot against a green screen, and my daughter sarcastically says, wow, this looks so realistic. I think it's great. Mark falls out, and Unc tries to run him over a few times with the boat, then throws a harpoon at him. Then Alexis says,
for crying loud out. For crying loud out.
Madame Habib is still hanging with Nikki, and then Unc goes to the yacht. So Habib sticks Nikki in a closet and tells her not to sneeze. Habib has a cheetah named Charlemagne, and Unc is there, and he's brought the jewels. Habib says, show them to me. She loves these jewels. Then Nikki sneezes, and Unc is like, who is that? And he pulls her from the closet. Then Mark's suddenly there, and the fist fight continues. Nikki tries to intervene. Madame Habib is like, stop it, and the cheetah growls, and all three pull out the jeweled necklace thing and it breaks into 3 pieces, and the police burst in and finally arrest Uncle Stratos. Uncle is being dragged away and he tells Habib, the stars cannot lie. She goes, everyone lies when it serves their purpose. Okay. Mark drags himself over to Nikki and they start making out. He's all bloody. Then somehow the aunt shows up at the yacht. Whatever. In the final scene, they're all leaving. Alexis is yelling, goodbye. When you come back, you can have a big wedding here. And Nikki and Mark are like, yeah, maybe. Awkward. And then giant the end hits the screen. I can usually prop these old-timey live-action ones up, but I don't know if I was in the bad mood or if it was the alcohol or what. This was not great. Why are these old live-action ones so long?
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has.